So, hey guys, Chauzu here. So this is going to be my rush showcase of Sanji. I'll be making more teams with Sanji later, but this video is specifically focused on trying out the rush mechanic in different ways. And who thought I'd be making a showcase for an anniversary legend against a 6-year-old content in the Colosseum Little Ors Junior. And you might wonder why this Colosseum, but it's actually very hard to find content that has a final stage with a tap barrier. So not just any kind of barrier, it has to be a barrier where you have to break it by tapping a certain amount of times. And this is actually very fortunate because this tap barrier is actually 40 taps. So we get to properly test Sanji. Because I really want to test this because final stage of the ambush, for example, has a 4 recovery orb barrier. So people have been asking like, can Sanji's rush just remove that if he has a recovery orb? So this is basically my test of that to see how it works. And as you see here, yeah, every hit of the rush removes barriers. This means that you should be able to remove the recovery orb barrier as well. So this means I will be making new teams for the ambush with this new information available. And yeah, get a kill with the free-to-play Vivid here. Nice to see. And as you see there, Super Tandem and Rush attack boost both stack, which is why Rush is such a valuable mechanic going forward, because it's one more stackable buff that adds damage. And yeah, that's a short little first showcase here. Moving on, we're going on into actual legit content. We're doing Arena Ashura. And I wanted to do a fun little team where I both try out the captain swap with Sanji and also stack Rush, Super Tandem and Final Tap. I did overlook one thing in this content, which means that we're actually going to die after using the Rush. But yeah, that's also interesting. In retrospect, I think that death was highly avoidable, but yeah, you learn as you go on. But yeah, I'm going to do some stalling here first. If you don't know, Ace, the anniversary legend, only buffs Sai and Quick, so he doesn't boost most of the team, but that works very well for most stages. And then the final stage, I can just use Sanji, moving him up to captain, and suddenly we have a different dynamic with the Luffy crew friend captain and Sanji captain, but we can still make use of Ace's Super Tandem. So just a fun little idea I had. Like, it's boring to just do the normal like Super Tandem Nami showcase. For example, it's more fun to mix things up a bit. And yes, I've stalled enough now. Killing this guy in one hit is actually not that easy, so I get to make use of my whale maxed out Ace. And with the Super Tandem and Luffy Zoro special, he will be able to kill in one hit, so that's nice to see. In this stage, we're going to be using the Ace. And we're going to be able to keep his unique chain mechanic for final stage as well. We use Nami here to remove resilience, and Ace does as many buffs as he can. And yeah, this will be a very easy kill once we get the Super Tandem procced here. And we're moving on to the final stage, where the thing I overlooked in this content is the fact that you actually get 5 turns of burn, which is not easy to solve on the fly. So I actually die here, but then I realized that if I initiated the rush with a great, that should have let me avoid burn damage, because I do a pretty decent job at avoiding hitting perfects otherwise. But obviously if you start to rush with a perfect, you do get the burn damage. But yeah, we move Sanji up to captain. Sanji changing orbs to recovery can be annoying, but since you need tandem orbs for rush. But as you see here, if you already have tandem orbs preemptively, he won't change them, so that's something to keep in mind for the future. But then I'm going to do rush into a super tandem and then do Luffy Crew's final tap. And as you see, I do take the 10,000 burn damage, but just from the first hit, not the rush hits. So if I just hit a great with ace, it should have been fine. I do hit one more perfect by mistake here. But you have to be careful with burn because you can't stop the rush in the middle. So no matter what, like you will be in very low HP range after using the rush. So if you have burn, like you can't hit any perfect at all if you combine it with rush. And I was pretty happy with the final stage. I would just use Luffy Crew and GG basically. So anyway, the final showcase I want to do is using only the rush to kill a boss. And I chose Arena Frankie for mainly two reasons. Firstly, Arena Frankie's dex, so matches up well with Sanji. He even puts up Rainbow Shield, which Sanji removes with his special, so basically perfect. Another cool thing is the fact that Arena Frankie applies bind to the crew, so it just makes sense to kill with only rush when you can only tap with 2 units anyway. So pretty fun showcase. The hard part here was to get everything set up for final stage because I wanted as much damage as possible. And I semi-succeed. Like, I could have done it better. Like, I overlooked the fact that Zoro Sanji won't have their super type special, which nerfs the damage. And if that wasn't enough, I'd have to retool the team a bit, but I still killed very easily, so I settle for this. But yeah, this is the thing about Rush I don't understand the least about. Like, the actual rush unit gets some extra stats and damage during the rush, but I honestly don't understand yet exactly how it's calculated. It's still a nice bonus though, because usually the unit tapping first doesn't have any chain, any buffs. Well, not the chain mainly, which really hurts the damage output. But like if you face like a quick boss now in Super Boss Kizuna, all 6 units will do a lot of damage, because like during the rush, Sanji will take advantage of all the chain buffs and such from both his rush and other buffs. So that's really powerful. But yeah, I use a fun little combination here versus Yamato with Kinemon to keep a full board of Wano orbs getting into stage 4. Basically, I just want Sanji to keep a Wano orb for final stage, because both Sanji and Zoro Sanji special changes orbs, which procs Frankie to change them to block, but if I have Wano orb, they can change it. It's also the most damage, and Wano works with the rush. Just for a reminder, for the rush, Sanji needs to have a recovery, tandem, or Wano orb. But yeah, Cat and Dog just to set up a very high attack and orb boost for final stage. I use Sanji there to heal, but knowing that I couldn't use Zoro Sanji's super type in this team, it would have been better to save it for the chain boost, but yeah, whatever. Final stage, so we have the attack and orb boost from Cat and Dog. Sanji will give the chain boundary, and Zoro Sanji will give a big color affinity. Sanji will also remove the Rainbow Shield. So almost a perfect showcase. I just lacked the super type special to really get the maximum realistic damage here. I also mess up the rush here. So even if I practice a lot and I feel like I'm well on my way to mastering it, like, you will still mess up from time to time. Usually when you are in a new situation, like, I've never had a rush in a situation like this before. Anyway, as you see, it doesn't really matter. It's still, despite everything, a very easy kill. But thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.